Alright, bringing you Triple D deck, DDDs, deck profile from my cousin Jake. He runs his deck quite often in the locals. He's been doing pretty good and it goes up and down. Just depends on what you draw. So I'll let him go ahead and explain to you what the deck does and what he runs for the profile.
Alright you guys, so I run 2 DD Pendragons. What he does is, he could blow a back roll, so you discard a card and then you can pop one of the back row and then he also gains 500. He's very useful. I like running him. He's kind of like he's not the main source of the deck, but I like running him just for the fact that it's easy. You can get him out with a pendulum summon, and then from there you can bump him up and really do some amazing combos with him. And then I also run 3 RAGNORAK. He's a main source player, so if you normal summon or special summon him and you have a DD Pendragon in the graveyard, you can special summon him back onto the field, and then you could go to crazy combos. He's kind of like a soul charge, except you don't have to pay any life points for him. He's really good. And also, if you can get RAGNORAK out, you special summon another RAGNORAK from the graveyard, then you still get his effect to special summon another card out of the graveyard. So you could special summon 3 RAGNORAKs and still special summon another card, as for instance Pendragon. So you can have pretty much OTK right here in second turn if you can, and then if not, you can also go an XYZ into Yuga. We'll get into that in a minute. I only run 2 Leonidas. I would run 3, but it's only good if you don't have RAGNORAK on the field. But I like to use him with use him as a pendulum, and then also be able to pendulum summon from him onto the field, or special summon him if I'm going to lose life points from my contracts. I run 2 DD Performant. He's really good just for the fact that if you have him on the field and then you also have like a Yugioh, for instance, and either Leonidas or Pendragon, you can bump him up a level and he'll be level 8, and then you can XYZ into Yugioh. It's a good combo. Sometimes it's hard to pull off, but sometimes you can get it off in a little bit. Then also I run 2 Evil Hero Infernal Gainers. I love this card, and there's reasons why I love him is because with his effect. During your main phase, you can banish this card and then select any card on the field. So if you have him on the field, if you have DD Pendragon on the field and you discard a card for his effect and he's at 3100, you banish him and he can attack twice during the damage step. So hey, I have a 3100 hit twice. I mean, if he has no monsters on the field, he attacks twice. That's already 6000, and with the DDs, it's easy to get a 2000 beater out on the field. So I love this card. I would run 3, but sometimes it gets too clunky, and it's just still in testing for right now. Oh yeah. And then on the second main phase, he can special summon himself back onto field in attack mode, so you can go ahead and banish him again and still attack. Sometimes I like to have 2 of them on the field. It still plays the same, so if you have 2 of them on the field and you have 2 Pendragons or RAGNORAK and a Pendragon, banish both cards and they can attack twice, and right there, that's game. So I love this card. And then also your search for the deck is DD's Servant Kelper. He lets you search a dark contract out of your deck, or you could target a card or return it to your hand, or target a card and return it to your hand. But I like using it for surgery because you can search a dark contract from the field. Also, if I already have him on the field and I already searched for my dark contract, what I like to do is use him as a pendulum scale. So I'll go ahead and pendulum scale him as a 10, and then I'll go back and then I do Leonidas. So for right there, you can special summon anything onto the field, DD and DDDs and DD. So it right there's an OTK play if you can get it out. So you can have these two in the pendulum scales, special summon the RAGNORAKs and the Pendragon, and then right there that's already game, if not close, if they can stop you with Mirror Force. But a lot of people don't run Mirror Force no more. So, and then I run 1 Prophecy. Only reason why I like this card is in case somebody's going to target my dark contracts, I can discard him from my hand and I could put my dark contract back to my hand. So it kind of stops them from taking away my contracts. So he has a little bit of protection, but I don't really run a lot of them just because of his effects not great, and he's a 0. And usually this carding, it don't really let you pendulum summon the triple Ds. It only lets you pendulum summon the regular DD. So it's not really a useful card. So that's why I only run one of him.
Oh, it does.
I also run 3 DD Necro Slime. This card, if he gets sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card and another card in your graveyard and special summon a fusion monster. So as Dinark, you can special summon from graveyard. So I run 3 of them, and I also run 3 Swirl Slimes. Now, what I like to do is if I have a Necro Slime in my hand and I have a contract with the Witch, I will go, not Witch, with the Gates, I'll go ahead and search for my Swirl Slime and send these 2 to the graveyard and be able to fusion summon 1 Dinark, and then also use Necro Slime's effect to banish, and then also bring back, to banish and bring another Dinark out from the special deck. Alright, well that's it for the monsters. We're going to go ahead and get into the spell cards. I'll run 1 Dark Contract with the Swamp King. He's really good because if you have cards in your hand, on your field, or in your graveyard, if they're in your graveyard, you could bash them out and special summon DD monster or DDD monster from your extra deck, from your hand or on the field. So this is a really great card. I only run 1 of them because sometimes nobody really takes this card out, so I just usually just run 1, and then you can also search it out or put it into your deck or bring it out. So there's always different ways to get this card out of your deck or from the graveyard. Then I'll run 3 contracts with the Gate. Now this is your other searcher. This card lets you search for any DD monster out of your deck, so you can search for RAGNORAK, you can search for anything you want that has DDs in it, and it's a really great card. But like I said, I run 3 of them because sometimes you don't get them in a draw. So I run 3, and with Kelper you can search for any ore, so it's a really great card to have. But also this deck is kind of a point cost, so if you don't play it right, you can not deck yourself out, but you can lose by life points. And you know that's a price to pay if you don't have Dinark or Leonidas on the field. I run 3 Upstart Goblins just for the draw power, because you know you got all these search, but sometimes you can get a busted hand. But if you get Upstart Goblin, it really does save your life. It saved mine on the last locals that I went to. Then I run 3 Mash Change 2. A lot of people don't agree with it. I like the card because it's a quick, easy way to pull out Dark Law. And once Dark Law goes on the field with like falafels or anything or pepes that run from graveyard, everything's banished. So it really does jack up a lot of decks out there. Then I run 1 Soul Charge, 1 1-for-1. 1 Burial from a different dimension, which lets you bring back any removed from play monsters. 1 Foolish Burial, and also run 1 Regeki.
What does a 1-for-1 do?
1-for-1 lets you send 1 monster from your hand to the graveyard, and then special summon 1 level 1 monster from your hand or deck. So
that's the one you would send 1 card from your hand, and you could bring out your search engine, your Kepler.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this one lets you search for your Kepler. And since the special summons on the field, Kepler comes out, and right there is from your Witch, and then from your Contracted Witch you can search whatever you could search for slime, or you could search for something else, if you know, or for another Kepler, and just go ahead and go from Kepler and bring back Swamp King, and Swamp King lets you banish from graveyard.
Okay.
So you can do a double search.
And Soul Charge?
And Soul Charge lets you special. It's kind of like a Ultra Monster Reborn on steroids, is what I call it. But the only bad part is that you can special summon a number of monsters from your graveyard, but it's going to cost you 1,000. But you can't enter your battle phase, so you have to. And you don't go into battle phase at your. Yeah,
okay.
so it skips your battle phase, but you do like a steroid Monster Reborn.
Oh, okay.
On your side of the graveyard.
And if you have the Narc out, you just gain the life points. Right?
Yes.
Oh.
So you could gain it, but some people try to pull rulings to where you don't gain it because it's a cost. But same thing with like Soul Charge. I played and I actually did a lot of talking to a couple people, and you do gain from Dinark. From this card you would gain, and same thing with Solemn Warning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll gain.
I would think you would gain because the other ones cost 2, right?
Yeah,
For, contracts.
Yeah, you gain. It's in the. I looked it up in the rule book and the rulings for it, and you do gain with Dinark, because if you're gonna lose it from a card effect,
because that cost damage, you gain.
Yeah. So and Leonidas and Dinark is very specific about the card. Even though if it's a cost, you still gain. And if, go ahead and correct me if you guys think I'm wrong on this or find a different ruling, let us know so we know how it's actually and really played. As for the traps, I'm not really trap heavy. And there's one reason why. My favorite card, Dark Contracts with Errors. As long as you have a DD monster, you can negate all trap cards. This is like a on and off. This is an on and off trap card. So on your side of the field, if somebody's gonna, play Vanity, you could go ahead and activate it, and it takes away Vanity. And it don't take it away necessarily, but it kind of just negates it. So it'll stay on the field. So it'll stay on the field, but it will just be negated. So it's a this card is very, very broken, but I love this card because if Vanity's on the field, for instance, I run one Vanity. So if I play Vanity and I'm going to chain it to my Errors, and then from there I'm going to sit there and be able to special summon as many monsters. But as soon as my turn ends, Dark Contracts with the Error is just on the field and all trap cards are active. So Vanities will still stay active until my turn when I deactivate it. So, and even if this Contract to Errors does leave the graveyard or leave the field and goes to the graveyard, still for that whole turn to the end of your turn, this card is activated, it's still active in your graveyard. So all trap cards are still negated when this hit goes to the graveyard. I run one Call of the Hot. I run one Solemn Warning. And then I run one Mirror Force and run one Dark Mirror Force. Now, I like running Dark Mirror Force for reasons. Some people don't like it, but I found it very useful when I was actually doing my testing, because if you're going against Pepe's and somebody attacks and use this and how they like to put monsters in defense mode, this card actually banishes all your opponent's defense position monsters on the field rather than them being able to pay 1,000 and bringing them back. So they're actually banished. And you might take a monster hit from the grave, or actually lose a monster, but if they have anything in defense mode, it removes them from play. So it's kind of like a good bottomless trap hole is what I like to call it. And then we're gonna go into my extra deck. So as everybody knows, I run 3 Dinarks, just because this lets you, instead of for all contracts with all contract cards for DDs, you have to pay 1,000 life points on your turn. So while this card is on the field, you gain. And same thing with the Magical Cylinders. If you were gonna go ahead and attack with her and they play Magical Cylinders, this card actually gains you the 2,800 life points rather than losing it. So you go to 10-8 rather than losing 2,800. So this is kind of like the main card in this deck to get her out as quick as possible, just for the fact if you have any contracts playing, you can lose if she's not on the field. Especially now with Cosmos and stuff, you can lose. I run 2 DD Oblivion King Caesar Renorts. What he does, if your opponent has 2 monsters on the field and you have him out, and as long as you have a DD or a Dark Contract on the field, so if you have her out, hypothetically, if you have her out, you can go ahead and bounce her back to the hand and take control of another monster, but it can't be an attacking monster. So if your opponent has, for instance, a BLS deck, so if he has a BLS and then he has Gaia the Fierce Knight on the field, you could take control of BLS and he gains the 3,000, so he'll be at 6,200. So he's kind of like a gain card, and from there, 6,200, how can you stop it unless you have Mirror Force, or if not, that's gonna be hard to pop unless you have, with instance, Cosmos can pop cards, but just to take a 6,200 card off the field is gonna be very difficult if you don't have the cards to pop it. Then I run 1 DD Wave King Caesar, and then I run 1 DD Marksman Teleking. I use them, but then I don't. Sometimes I forget because I go into bigger plays, but with them they are useful of, if you lose life points, you can special summon and so on and so forth. For this one I run DD King Yuga. He is like Grand Tornado on steroids. You discard a card, you blow off the whole entire field, all the magic and spell cards off of the field, and then he negates all effects on the field, so he can't be targeted. So that is very great.
On the first turn. When he comes out.
On the first turn when he comes out. But usually, if you go ahead and blow off the field with with his effect, you can also discard a card and bring back a contract and still go into a play if you haven't used it. So this card is very good. I like this card. Hard to bring out just because you need 2 level 8 DD monsters, but with 2 RAGNORAKs, or if you have a RAGNORAK DD Performant and another card, you could bump that DD monster to 8 and still XYZ into...
So that's the dude you want to come out.
Yeah, this is a guy that you want to try to bring out.
And he seems very hard to bring out sometimes.
Yeah, 3,500. And then I run 1 Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon. Some people ask why I do this, and I think it's a great card in a way because once he's on the field, you can, if he gets off of the field, then you can special summon another Odd Eyes from your extra deck, or I think it believes you can negate the attack of the monster.
I'm gonna ask you how you bring him out.
With 2 level 7 monsters. So you
Oh,
can do
2 Leonidases.
Yeah, 2 Leonidases or 2 DD Dinarics or Pin Dragons could bring him out. Now it happened if he gets off of the field, so if they fact to blow him off the field and he comes off the field, I run Odd Eyes Metal Burst Dragon, and this is the one he could special summon out. I got into him once or twice, so I'm not very familiar with his effect, but I just use him as a high beater because usually when he comes out, I just go ahead and attack it because usually he brings out another Odd Eyes cards or pendulums from your extra deck, which I don't have. And then for the last but not least, I run 2 Dark Claws. Everybody knows what Dark Claw does, banishes cards and so on and so forth that they add. But I would like to run 3 of him just for the fact that I run 3 Mass Change in case they try to blow him off. But with the new support hopefully coming in April or May, we might do a different approach to it, but Dark Claw is always my go-to just because of how Pepes are going to be going in and how they all send to graveyard and bring back. So anything that would be going to graveyard would get banished. So this is a card that messes up a lot of people, and that's why I love this card. So I hope you guys like my deck profile of my DDs, and let us know, subscribe and like and leave a comment. Thank you.
It's time.